So we want to look at Spss. So Spss has got two parts, which are data view and the variable view. So when I opened here, we have got a data view, we have got a variable view. So what's the difference between the two? I think they are self-explanatory in the sense that in the previous lesson we learned about defining variables. So when we're defining variables, variable is what we've already defined. You have got your research which you are doing, or an analysis which you want to do, but the data that you want to look into is data that is contained by the variables that you have. Okay, so when you open Excel and you want to start doing data analysis, you have to first of all define your variables under the variable view. Okay, so what do? You under the name, this is where we put the name of the variable, but here we don't have to put some spaces or some gaps. For example, I can put HTS. If it's a two-worded variable, I put an underscore dash, or continuously. You put it continuously like this to see the total tested. Okay, then what is the type of the variable? So we have got numeric, which contains of, if the type of data which is going to be contained in this variable HTS is a number, to what extent, what is the limit of the digits that you want to see on your number? Are they very big numbers or very small numbers? For example, I can leave it as 8, and does it contain some decimals? If it doesn't, you have to clear here. Okay, if it is a comma type of data, you also have to specify it here. If it is a dot type of data, scientific notation, a date, a dollar, which is a currency, or we can custom the currency instead of a dollar straight away. Or it's a string. String is those variables which are qualitative or categorical. For example, color, or gender, or what else? Types of the variable that you are into. That's what you want to, you have to define it here. You have to define it here. So for example, mine is going to be it's going to be a numeric, so it's going to have no decimals. Okay, then you specify like this. It's numeric, which is a maximum of 8 digits and 0 decimals. Then the label. Now, how do I want this variable appear in my analysis output? Okay, so I'll write total number people tested HIV. This is how I want. Here you are allowed to leave some gaps or to put some spaces. This is what you want it to appear, but in the system, in the analysis context, it's coded as HTS TST. Then what values are you into? Does this variable contain some drop-down selection, or does it have a multi-selection list? For example, I'm going to demonstrate that one. For example, you might want to say number 1, option 1, to say, if I am to select to put option 1 under the data variable, I am referring to male. You see? Then I can say add. Then option 2, I'm referring to females who are tested. Then I can add. So if I say, if I click OK here, it means whenever I want to enter data for this variable HTSTST, I'm given two options, either to select a male or a female. So for this one, I'm not going to do that, so I'll cancel. I'll leave it as none. Then for the missing values, what do you want it to appear in our system? How do you want to appear? If your data is not going to have some missing values, do you have some variables which does not contain data? And what do you want to code for that data? So if you come here at discrete, you can define your values here. If it is in range form, you can define the minimum and the maximum. Say whenever your data falls in these two, then it is coded as what? Missing. So if I am to specify to say anything that is missing, place triple two or 404, it's up to you. You put the values which you want here, then you code OK. So whatever missing, this number will be placed. So whenever you're doing analysis and you see this number, you now know that it's a missing. So mine does not contain any missing value. Okay. How many columns do you expect? I'll leave it as default as this, but you can number. For example, I've got 6 sides, so I can put mine as 6 sides, which are going to contain this data. Then alignment, this is the position of your data in the cell. Do you want to appear right, center, or the left? So I'll leave it at right. Numbers are good when they appear on the right alignment. Then measure. Now, if you have absorbed the previous lesson, we've discussed about types of variables. Okay, is it a scale? That is something that is quantitative, that is measured. Are we able to measure it? For example, here, yes, it's in numerical form, so it's scale. But if it was going to be color or gender or something else, I was going to put nominal, because those are names. I'm labeling them in the form of names. Ordinal, are you going to order them as big, smaller, big, bigger, biggest, small, smaller, smallest, short, shorter, shortest, short, medium, tall, something like that. So mine is going to be a scale. Then the input row. Do you want to partition it? Do you want to split it? Do you want to leave it as none or as input? So since we are going to input it, we put as input. I'm going to explain more about this other. For now, we want to work with input. Okay, so I can come here and say gender. Okay, then my gender is going to be a string because it's a label. Okay, I can put a maximum of 8. It's okay. Then I'll come here and say I want it to read as what? As gender. Then what values do I need? Number 1, I want it to be female sex workers. Okay, for demonstration sake, I add number 2. It's MSM. Number 3, I can say transgender. Okay, right. So you can even click here and edit. For example, I want to put a cap there, then change, then click OK. So these are the list that we have. If you click here, if you want to add, you can still add more. If you want to remove, you click and then click remove. Okay, then missing values, everyone can categorize in these 3 categories. Okay, so I'm talking of categories, means I'm referring to the categorical qualitative type of data. Mean to say here is already labeled as what? As nominal. Okay, then here I can leave it as it is. There's no problem here. Okay, so after this, I think I can save and say and save it as HTS tracking month of May, something like this. Then I can save it. Okay, for it to run and run, but we have to ignore this. It has been saved as a SAV. This is a format for SPSS. Then after this, I come here. You'll see what will happen here. I've put two variables, HTS and gender. They now appear as my header. Okay, means say I can now come and say, let me add one more here to say site. Okay, where I've done my things, which is a string with an 8 is okay. Then I can say clinics, where we are doing our, then I don't want to keep on typing those clinics. I'm wanting to label them if I want. If you want, you can label them here to say 1 it's Bulawayo. I add 2 it's Harare. I add 3 it's Kweru. I add, then I click OK. I save. Then you see it's already nominal here because I've selected what? String. Okay. Then if I come here, site has been added. So I can come here and say 1. 1 I'm referring to Bulawayo. Okay, yes, I've saved here to say 1 is for Bulawayo. Right. Then I'll come and say I'm referring to female sex workers. Okay. So if you want, you can say, if I do this, it still allows you to do the same. Then here I can say 2, 3, 2, 1. You see. Then here I can say female sex workers, female sex workers, female sex workers. You behave in your code. That's what we call coding. Then site, it's Harare, it's Kweru, it's Bulawayo. So I now have my data in this format. So this, I wanted to just explain the element of variable, issue of the essence of understanding variable types of variables, especially here the type and the measure type. Okay, and how to code them in SPSS. Let's meet each other in the next lesson, where we'll be looking deeper into SPSS until you become a guru in analyzing data using what? SPSS. Thank you.